Can't keep reminding you.
Yes, all praises.
People tell him you got some money for him one time, you won't forget. You ain't got to tell him no more.
Right.
Same applies to the truth.
As-salam, as-salam, as-salam. In the name of the Al-Sufiyan. The great meeting is on. Good. There we go. Yes, the great meeting is on.
Bring it on.
We honor all divine prophets.
Right on.
Today is your day for all souls to proclaim the way.
Right on.
It's your time.
Yep.
To proclaim the way.
Right on.
Yes, indeed. Proclaim Al-Sufiyan.
Right on.
For all souls. For all souls to be promised the gift of the spirit of truth. This is the final covenant for all believers. And in that time, it was hidden. In this time, it's revealed.
Right on.
So it's our time as believers to proclaim your divine divinity. As our holy prophet said, you must proclaim.
Right on.
And we in a time of error where you must proclaim your divinity, your divine divinity. This is a divine and natural movement by divine law and natural law. All souls have the right to proclaim. So we're talking about the one way, the only way, the true and divine way that was sent down from the prophets to all of humanity for the uplifting of the people. So as that duty was carried then, we carry that duty now. So as Al-Sufiyan, Moorish American, we set the path to the way. Open and plain, so you can see for yourself. We know in our teachings, a block of wood can point, but a true master must tread the way, so his footprints are clearly cut. As-salam. So today we have been uplifted with a great message. When we refer to the great meeting refers to the greatest meeting of all time.
Right on.
As we have heard Muhammad Ali say, the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Well, KOS is the greatest meeting of all time. The great meeting is on. The great meeting is the greatest meeting of all time. Is when man meets knowledge of self. We've been told by a lot of cultures, but we ain't been told by our own culture. We've been told about a lot of different heritage.
That's right.
but we was never told by our own heritage. So others can't speak for us.
Thank you.
So we must speak for us. And we must share our way. So as we understand the foundation of Al-Sufyan Moorish American is knowledge of self. This is the great divine gift that the holy prophets brought all humanity. We have it summed up for us as Moorish science. And our holy prophet brought our name of our divinity, Moorish, and brought the way to our divine creed, Islamism. That is our way in our language saying monotheism. So if you have heard of the word monotheism, that is a Greek word. That word belongs to the culture of Greek. So what belongs to the culture of the Moors is Al-Sufyan, aka you know it as the Circle Seven. And your divine language is Al-Sufyan. And this was known as the Circle Seven Logos, the divine wisdom of the Messiah, love divine, was sent out to teach humanity how to conquer self through love divine, from the Father to the Son. So we have an obligation, and we need to understand what that obligation is. As Moorish Americans, we are a clean and pure nation. What does that mean? It means you follow the way. The way is the original name of what we will call Islam. We have to understand cultures, and we have to understand history. So Moorish history predates biblical history, book history. These are people. And so these things we need to know, that Moorish history exists and predates biblical history by over 5 million years. So this is what the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali of America brought America. The natural Native Americans, their national divinity. And so with understanding knowledge of self is the knowledge of all of your history of the past up to who you are now at present. So when you say Moorish, that is connecting you to a descendant nature. Just as nature comes from natural law, descendancy comes from divinity. And divinity is the descendant nature of what we call the Father. All humanity came from Allah, God. And this is the way of Al-Sufyan. The Al-Sufyan is for all humanity. It's for all souls. No religious preference is needed. You can stay your same religious preference because this has nothing to do with religion. This has to do with the way and the true way and the only way that all souls will have salvation. We must understand the mighty words that spread throughout Moorish history is proclaiming your divinity. Today, we have marks placed on our divinity, causing wounds and lacking pain into spiritual identity. But today, we get to resolve that matter clearly above all means. So let's go back to number 43 is where we'll begin.
Super 43.
Well, number 43 on Sufa 25.
Super 25.
On Sufa 25. 25 and 43. Oh yes, this goes deep. And so this is what we have to understand. 43, whoever seeks knowledge. So anyone. This is open for anyone. Whoever seeks knowledge will get 2 rewards. With knowledge comes 2 rewards.
Never heard that before.
Al-Hamid. 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 44, 1 reward is the knowledge of self gained by such a journey. 45, the other reward is attaining the knowledge sought. So this is the natural and divine movement. It's natural for self to seek knowledge of self. And it's divine when self attains that knowledge of self. The way of the Moorish is about knowledge of self. It's about us reaching our highest pinnacle in life So when we are talking about an understanding here, this is what we was brought to as the holy breath. See, while everyone was given their terms to associate and recognize their maker and creator, our holy prophet brought to us our divine origin. This is very important. Our divine origin begins with the Moorish American questionnaire. The first question is, who made you? This is a science as the way that we live as one family under one creator. Now, did we know and understand that the word Allah is Moorish? Is a Moorish word describing who we are, how we live, and the laws we abide by, which is divine law and natural law. We got here naturally through divinity. In that process, we call Allah. So this is the divine origin of a Moorish American. And we will find that it's the exact way as it is in heaven, called Al-Sufyan. So we need to breathe that in for a minute. This is why we are clean and pure. We don't come from books. We come from the Creator himself, and his name is Allah. But we pray in the name of Al-Sufyan. This is our divine heritage, and this is what we have been given by the prophet who was sent from the divine creator. So the way is of no doubt. This is the difference between Arabism and Moorish. In Arabic, you have a language. That language represents a people. Those people who speak Arabic are known as Arabs. Moorish are not Arabs. Moorish is the heritage of the Arabs. So they are taking parts of your customs and never telling you who you are and where they got these customs from. So in Arabic, they have their version of Islam, and it's non-Moorish. The Moorish Islam is Al-Sufyan. One come directly from the Creator by way of the angels and the prophets, and the other comes from the doctrines of men. So doctrines of men will never free all of humanity. Only messengers sent in the name of the angels and the prophets deliver messages for all of humanity to be free. And it was this truth that we must know for all to be free. Everybody on the planet know who they are except the black man, the black woman, and their poor, innocent black child. Growing up in a system that is non-Moorish. So we have to understand, you have to proclaim your own. If you don't proclaim your own, you in someone else's. The way is as guidance unto those who respect knowledge and beauty. See, this knowledge is the knowledge of self. See, we was given a beautiful understanding of a divine origin of who we are. And we come to find out the truth of who all of the prophets were. There has been a national genocide to your Moorish history. This is the history that was obliterated, that only the Creator himself can amend. When you've been scattered far and wide, when you have been treated and misabused, and instead of told the truth, you was told a lie. And you was taught that you better believe it. And so these things was not done to any one soul and spirit. This is why we have to understand the constitution of man. And that the constitution of man is just not an American constitution. There's a divine constitution that covers all souls, for all souls to have their rights. And that's very important in these days and times. Coming from the Creator, you have God-given rights. And no man can enforce against your God-given rights unless he never teaches you. And so we must understand why we have a clean and pure understanding. because now we have the way. It was a truth spoken of, and there was a divine truth said that was to be attained. And that attainment is the light of our divine origin. So we now know a little bit more. Now we're going to go into our Moorish science. See, when we read about dualism, when we read about separation, they are using a part of your nature that you had in a science. And now they use this as a form of kryptonite. And ignorance is the kryptonite. Because as long as you don't know yourself, you can't be yourself. So others design a whole system that teaches you not to be yourself. It never teaches you that you are Moorish. It never teaches you that you are American. It never teaches you that you are Al Sufyan. So if you never got any of these teachings, we have been deprived of something called knowledge of self. And anyone who deprives anyone of knowledge of self is a crime, is a criminal, and therefore it is a crime. So we must understand divine law has always been present. We have divine law and natural law. This is a Moorish science. Next is our understanding of Absalom. We have our understanding that was given to us of Absalom. When we say Islam, most of us don't truly know from the way what Islam means in the way, not from the doctrines of men, but from what the Creator has created for all of humanity to govern themselves, their family, their communities, and be one with the Lord as in communion. But if we have no knowledge of self, then we can never prosper to that destiny. So when it comes to understanding Islam, most people have not understood it from this perspective, from the Moorish perspective. Islam is first a devotion to self-knowledge. This is in connection to the two rewards. See, once we understand the reward system that the Creator have given us and not what man offers us, we have a covenant with our Creator for being created, like everything that is created. Everything in life is created to be itself. So every animal knows itself in the sense of its nature. So when it comes to man, man should know himself because he comes from the same source. And something, as we was taught in our holy divine instructions, something more was reposed on us, more than the animals. And see, this is what's called self-knowledge. This self-knowledge is a devotion that was a part of what you would call your path to self, that other cultures call religion. Religion was called the way for us. And every soul has their way. So, and every soul has their constitution. The constitution is what makes you a citizen of heaven. So if you're not agreeing to be a citizen of heaven, then you are making a choice to deny your own birthright. So believers are looking to be citizens of heaven. Sitting and chilling with he who is always willing. This was a promise that was promised for overcoming. You must overcome to understand how to get to heaven. You don't get to heaven by losing. You get to heaven by overcoming. And this is the thing that we must know and understand. The true path to God deals with self-knowledge. Without self-knowledge, can you be yourself? If something else is filled in your head, you can only be what's filled in your head. This is the importance of why self-knowledge is the maxims of truth that all children should be waxed with. We need maximums of truth to ascend to infinite wisdom. And we was given a direct way, a straight path from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. And others, as the gospel said, they hid the key. The Pharisees and the Sadducees hid the key from others so they could not enter into heaven. The way is the truth and the law. On a divine for all humanity. Only one creator could do that. So it's important to understand the Al Sufyan. Is a devotion to self-knowledge and self-restraint. This is how you overcome. Remember, the victory ain't on earth. The victory is within self. When self restrains itself from its lower self, victory is to the higher. See, and only the higher can restrain itself from the lower. This was our heritage. This was our customs. This was our life. And this is what we was living on all of the lands before being invaded by non-Moorish. And those who invaded, who were non-Moorish, gave us their books. That was non-Moorish. The Arabian book is non-Moorish. The Judean book is non-Moorish. The Roman Catholic book is non-Moorish. These three, through thievery, through theft, through grand soul larceny, took our Moorish and made their non-Moorish, and gave the non-Moorish to us as our new identity. So instead of self-knowledge, now we will have self-ignorance. Now self will become ignorant to the knowledge of who self is. We must understand from the correct point of view. All the words that you think of that are considered holy and divine are Moorish words. God is a Moorish word. Allah is a Moorish word. Allah is not Arabic. Allah is Moorish. God is not English. God is Moorish. These are words of the ancient. And when they say the Ancient of Days, they talking about the ancient people who walked in the ancient times, that was mighty in their wisdom, great in their architect, sciences they mastered, what we call numbers, time, language, culture, astronomy, history, all begins with Moorish history. So before Adam and Eve, if you read the book of Genesis of Adam and Eve, when they was kicked out, it was people already amongst them. Those was the Moorish people. They wanted to write you out of your Moorish identity. Back then, you knew who you was. Today, you don't know who you are. Because they seen what you had. And they seen it that it was a strong bond. So they created something from it. And so this is where you get black or Moors. Where they start making Moors black. And that was at the early stages before completely wiping out Moor and only leaving black. That's when they was in Africa killing our brothers and sisters in Africa. Those was Moors. The Arabian side is what killed up the African side. The European side is what the Roman Europeans side is what came on the American side. So on one side, we dealing with the Roman Catholics on our land, and on their land, they dealing with the Arabic imams. And both of these are invaders coming to defile our nature because their nature ain't our nature. Our nature is to be clean, pure, love divine, and leave people alone. See, it's not that these people who call you black hate you. You got to understand that it's their nature. They non-Moorish. Moorish mean love. The back, when you reverse the word Amor, you get Rome. Rome is the people that hate Moors. And so that's why they created the dirty part, the corrupt people. And so the Italians are the ones who became the dirty. And to be able to start filthying up generations through war and bloodshed from Africa to America. They called it the Christian Crusade. And they was coming under the name of Christian, but they was Roman Catholics. Roman Catholics joined up with the Judeans, and the Judeans joined with the Arabians. And these three is now running nationality schemes when all humanity is supposed to be under one divinity, under one family. All souls is from one mother and one father. But these teaching was deprived from us, and instead they wanted us to go to books. This was in our DNA. So we was the first to write the books. So our descendant line, our descendant nature comes from Abraham, Abraham. This is why we Moorish. We are descendants of our father, Abraham, born in America. And what our forefathers' rights were, ours are today. What they worked for all of their lives, everything they left, from the glorious wisdom and understanding and knowledge that is within self, to the magnificence of what we see outside of self as the emblem of the mounds and the pyramids. So this is what self-knowledge is for us to know our heritage. Our heritage goes back trillions of years. So we must know and recognize that we come from the infinite to the finite and back to the infinite. But there's a way that has been stolen from us, and they have given us new identity to take you away from your whole, your land, your heritage, and who you are. Every soul that is born into human and humanity have a constitution. If we don't understand that if you're not a constitution, if you don't have a constitution that puts you in heaven, then we don't understand the way and all of the messages that came from the messengers and prophets that came before our time. All of the prophets is part of our heritage. All of the prophets that represent holy and divine were Moorish. And so now, as the prophet declared, the new Moors will see things with their eyes wide open. And here we are, the Al Sufyan Moorish American. Spirit man. Do we know how divine those teachings are? In previous lessons, we said God is a spirit. We get a divine science of how to travel to the divine. Do we know it comes with more than just beautiful abilities? Some of these abilities that your Moorish God gave you, Allah gives men and women the ability to think, to reason, and to choose. That's just a few of your abilities, of your major abilities. The Creator gave us a science here. If we can count 1, 2, 3, that would be a trinity. The Trinity is not a worship mechanism. The Trinity is a science to understand the one and how the one makes all of creation. See, this is the divine science that we must understand. As if you was raised and blazed by the holy prophet Noble Drew Ali as a Moorish American Muslim, adept mastermind, then you shall know that the holy breath is what all that we should want to know, because the holy breath is truth. See, and this is the power that is the will in manifest. The divine told us that Allah is love, that Allah is truth. And this together made you. You yourself is the proof. Now you're going to read something out of a book that tells you to turn somewhere else instead of turn to self. And then telling you what self is. Our divine instructions tell us self is not the body. Our divine instructions tell us self is not the soul. Our divine instructions tell us self is the spirit man. And the spirit man just as a seed had to be planted in the soil of soul. How did we come to the plane of manifest? Was it by a book? Or was it naturally divine? This is the natural and divine movement. Proclaim Al-Sufyan the way for all souls to become clean, pure, and love divine. Look, this is how great you was made. Number 20. Therefore, you yourself do not need to be told what is wicked and that which is true. You don't need to be told what is wicked and what is true. Because as you studied, because your prophet said, study and study. And when you're done studying, studying yourselves. So throughout all this studying, we should come to understand this is what the higher self is. You yourself. And we get a specific divine, because remember, divine law defines the spirit. Divine law defines the spirit. So when we talk in spirit man, that's the divine. And the divine is the higher, greater self. Now, when we stop at that brink, then ask ourselves, have we been taught any other teachers? Have any other teachers that we've been handed to us, that we've heard, have it been this clear? Has it been geared to a knowledge of yourself? So as the Sufa says, one learned man is harder on the devil than 1,000 ignorant worshipers. So if we ain't been getting taught this teaching, we been getting taught ignorance. Now, ignorance ain't clean and pure, is it? So who would teach you something unclean and not pure? So we have to understand these books have told you the wrong story. Because these books are non-Moorish. They are for non-Moorish people. You as Moorish have your own. You have your own, just like all the other nations have their own. You have your own government, God, religion, science, man and woman and children. You have your own. See, in Moorish, we say Allah. It means Allah, God, created the heavens and the earth, including self and all within the universe. See, our divine origin is just that simple. See, it ain't about rituals with us. It ain't about sacrifices with us. It's about knowledge, understanding, and wisdom with us. See, we know it to be it. See, that's our formula. We know it to be it. We know self-knowledge. What did the prophets say they came to do? They came to teach us to be ourselves. We ain't learned how to be ourselves yet. It's because we're not al-Sufyan. If you have the al-Sufyan, there's no way that you can go astray. And we know those are the teachings of those who was cast out the holy city. So those books that are non-Moorish are the books and the teachings of those that were kicked out of the holy city. And only the black man and the black woman and the black child accepted their teachings. And now they have been treated poorly, abused, mistreated, and they have no rights as citizens of men. Through the church and Christianity, you have not reached prosperity. Because the church in Christianity is non-Moorish. Non-divinity can't carry you to divinity. Our prophets, who were holy, was Moorish masterminds. Came to give us the teachings so we can master our Moorish mind. Walk in dignity, breathe in dignity, live and die in dignity. Not as a slave. Allah never made a slave and never made a man to be a slave. Now, the non-Moorish did. See, they worship certain forms of deities. This is what the prophet said, don't serve the gods of Europe. Because we have on 16, other stories speak of only a few having authority from some deity. That's the Catholics, which are the Romans, the Arabians, and the Judeans. They get their authority from some deity, what we call them, Yahweh, and all others no more than animals. Everybody else that don't serve their doctrine, their replacement theology, it was convert or die. See you as mere lower than animals. And then want you to believe you are cursed by being born. So we got one for 14. Some say that we are cursed. Have we heard that before? If your skin is black, then the reason why your skin is black is because you cursed. See, these are thoughts, these are hate thoughts from non-Moorish people. That was a hate crime. What others say, we are fallen angels. Have you heard that phrase? And since you fallen, that means sin that you must atone. You got to pay tithes. You got to sacrifice. You got to do what you don't want to do. Check this out. All those narratives are an insult to our divine creator. That shows us what they think about our creator. But more importantly, it shows what their creator is. Because our creator ain't. That's why ain't nothing greater than Allah. Allah is love. We talking love and truth. Or we may say love and wisdom. This is the truth that we must understand. What is self? The knowledge of self is the most important thing that we need. The prophet said, there's nothing else you need once you know the lower self and the higher self. There's nothing else to know. Ain't no university gonna teach you that. Ain't no private school gonna teach you that. This comes from right Sufiyan Allah. Ali Allah. So it's very important to understand what the self is. If we get knowledge of self, we need to know what type of knowledge we need to be getting. There's a certain type of knowledge that self need to be getting. This is how our ancestors were masterminds. And they left the way behind. Just as they built a magnificent structures, they left the wisdom not only in your DNA, but in rocks, clay, forming tablets, walls, and most importantly, those are the outside. As our Moorish covenant always said, never worship a God never found within self. Now, once we go back, I bet we'll see why we'll never do that again. Call on these other gods. I bet you won't do that again. So after Allah clean this debris up through righteousness, through love, truth, peace, purity, and justice. Verily, we are one. We are of one Father, one Mother, all. This is the way. All of us come from Allah. All is all our father and mother. These books have told you otherwise, but yourself never told you that. Yourself has more connection to the Creator than the flesh. But sometimes the soul forgets its father. And when the soul forgets its father, all it can do is turn into a flesh. And this is the grandiose right here. We can shut the class, we can shut the meeting down after this. If we've been looking for truth all our lives and we live by the phrase, if you know the truth shall make you free. And then to come to this divine instruction here. Here's wisdom. Number 9. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. It don't get no clearer than that. The truth that's going to make you free is within the flesh. Man, woman, know thyself. So yourself is made up of, number 6, the human spirit, clothed with soul. This is why you can't see it. Remember, it's finer than the planes below. What you see is not you. Remember that. What you see is not self. Because self was made in the form of Allah. Okay. Okay. That's who the higher self is, that the prophet from a long generation of prophets, from our Moorish ancestry, all the way to the 21st century. This is the truth that will make you free. Be hearers and doers of the word. See, that word is the consciousness. This is the consciousness that is to become your awareness. See, we learning to become conscious. So this consciousness becomes our awareness. See, and this is the beauty of learning. The greatest study is to study self. Man was made as the perfect marvel of the universe. All 7 planes of life manifested in one. You must conquer ignorance. You are born with ignorance. This is called the lower self. It don't know itself. Only the higher self knows itself. See, the higher self can embody, meaning it can be the truth. But the lower self is truth reverse. It can't never be the truth. So the flesh can never be the truth because it's the lower self. And anything that goes along with the flesh is called the body of desire.
And we can truly see the lower self activities each and every day, and how much trouble it brings on us. It's self-explanatory. When you see man ain't thinking with the head on top, see what the results gonna be. And desires and all that lies in trying to please others instead of Allah. We have to be extremely careful because it's a thin line. We focus on the higher, the embodiment of truth, and the lower desire. Because you observe the lower self, you can never do it. No matter what it is you do. Cause money, vehicle, cars, clothes, shoes, I've been there, everything you can think of, and they never know. Just like, if you ain't kept it, just like time wasted. 30, 40, 50 years. Ain't nothing accomplished. I get broke.
With that being said, the new saying is the best things are moorish.
That's right.
See, moorish is a virtue
Mm-hmm.
that only love knows.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about when the self had realized itself that it was created from love, and love is its creator. And love is the wisdom and truth that the higher self embodies, that sets all souls and mind from themselves. See, you have to rescue you from yourself, but only yourself can rescue you. This is how divinely we have been made. Can't nothing fake become real, y'all.
That's right. Yeah.
The creator is real. He keep making real, showing you what's real. Older than time itself. But we think the creator is something that you see with two eyes. That's called the created.
Yeah.
What you see with the two eyes, human eyes, is the created.
That's right.
Where's the higher self? Just like the Moorish wisdom said, is higher than the blue pearl. The higher self is higher than the ethers. Higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars. Because these things you can see.
That's right.
When we talking raising your thoughts, because man is a thought. Let's not forget. Raise your thoughts because man is a thought.
That's right.
Raise your thoughts to infinite wisdom. Strength must be developed by the exercise of thought. Man have lost his heritage, but he shall regain his lost self. You are here to spend the rest of your life building the temple of the perfected spirit man. Your goal from a child to now was and is building the temple of the spirit man. This is the citizen of heaven. Did you abide by the laws in heaven while on earth? perfect be ye as he is in heaven. When we reach heaven, heaven is a mind. What we said is not a country to be reached.
That's right.
It's not a place to meet.
A journey to take and go to Mecca and find out.
It's a being. Do we get that? It's a being. Heaven is a state, is the way of the self. See, he didn't know where heaven was. Why? Because his thoughts was wrong.
That's right.
Uh-oh. See, we in a whole nother, when we pick up non-Moorish thoughts, we don't know where heaven is. It's like we lost.
That's right. That's right.
Now we're finna get into this embodiment of the truth. How do we embody the truth? We said through the 3 steps of the Moorish ladder. Belief, faith, fruition is how man elevate himself to heaven. Ooh. This is how a woman elevate herself to heaven. It is through thinking how you elevate your thought. Remember, this is one of your major fruition is the truth. I'm glad we brought. Let's bring that down from the heavens. That body, that soul, that spirit man, not the flesh. Man, we talking about the spirit man. Where's the spirit man?
Yeah.
It ain't outside of self. It ain't outside the flesh. It's inside the flesh.
Inside.
But what we have to understand is that the self lives in the breath.
That's right.
This is why you got the breath and the holy breath.
Right on.
How I say it.
Right on.
You got to learn how to use your breath and the holy breath.
Right on.
Divine and love divine. This is something our millions of our ancestors mastered. So don't let us, they in heaven having a blast right now.
Yes, indeed. Trouble over.
Spirit man, spirit man.
Yes, indeed.
Back they come to
I'm
spirit
on my
land.
way.
Spirit man from spirit land. This is where we return if we did the job right while we had the pocket of flesh.
Right on.
We supposed to be chilling in the cut of flesh, getting our self-knowledge on. That's what we would call doing my father's business.
Right on.
My father's business is called self-knowledge. Getting knowledge of the creator, who created the creator. It says what the creator created can't be uncreated. There's no death to any being of the 7 planes that you see manifested on the universe in earth. From above to below. And we're gonna choose to follow ignorant teachings as a donkey. Don't let the new AI car become smarter. we got to understand how important life is. This is what we have here, y'all. It's number 6, the awareness of the I. The awareness of the I to my own existence. This is all you have. See, this is what's been buttered up like sunbeam bread.
Hey. Sunbeam bread, we still make it.
Yes, indeed. It's this awareness that they don't want us to become conscious of. So they keep throwing distractions of ignorance and hoping that's the bait that catches. See, they keep throwing out lures to catch our awareness, so we don't catch our own. Mm-hmm. So when we was given the beloved instructions that see, you ain't gonna get this is what all souls need, but you ain't gonna get this from no Arabian. They don't teach Allah in Arabic like this. Man is not the body nor the soul. They don't teach that in the Arabic, holy Arabic Quran. So they don't know man is a thought of Allah. And that all thoughts of Allah are infinite.
Beautiful.
So if you are a thought of Allah and all thoughts of Allah are infinite, what is your divine origin? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What is man's divine origin? This is the mystery of man. This is what is called the unique perspective. See, awareness is our unique perspective. And guess what? It's a part of the greater self of Allah as your awareness observes. Panoramic view, y'all. The Creator gave us panoramic view. We can see the body, the soul, and the spirit plane. If you know what the words are wisdom. That if we observe that this is the dream of creation, y'all. This, what we wake up into every day is a dream. And we supposed to wake up in this dream to become conscious, to have a certain awareness. And this awareness is yourself. If you're getting dogged out, tired and sick and tired of being sick and tired, then the self is not at its peak. The self's supposed to be at its peak. As it gets older, it gets wiser. And wiser means spirit man. So the more we supposed to employ, because the better we know how to use things. Number 10, he who knows his own self knows the divine creator. So if you know who made you, you know your divine origin. Your divine origin is your divine creator. It didn't say he know who knows the book. No, I want to make that clear that we ain't born out of no book. He who knows the book can quote the book. is what the prophet said. Prophet say, study what? Self. And after you done studying self and ask me what to study next, I will reply, yourselves. So now when the divine truth comes to your heart, comes in your awareness, you will be clean and pure because you have studied and studied and studied. And this self that you studied was for you to know the divine creator.
When we look at and study books, most books, the Bible and the Holy Quran and others, do not teach you to look within self. They always got you looking outward. And then you're always reading. How many times have we heard about Moses crossing the Red Sea? How many times have we heard the story of Joshua marching to Jericho? How many times have we had to hear the story of Daniel in the lion's den? And we learn that, we read that, we learn that, and then we try to emulate that. And this, we're not getting anywhere because of the fact that the proof is in the pudding, because all of us that have read these books, we are still ignorant to self. That's just to back up what you just said. I get it.
And that's how we know we've been around. Everything non-moral.
That's right. Even the Constitution is non-moral.
It's non-moral.
That they drawed up. That their forefathers drawed up.
And so now existence has showed that everything ain't moral.
That's right.
So now we can appreciate morals. Now that we know everything ain't moral.
That's right.
So just these few amount of people have destroyed all of what you've seen, including the minds of all of the billions of people, using 3-headed books. And these 3 books confirm each other as if they are of humanity,
right,
and here to help humanity.
Right.
But the only people prospering is the rulers and the rich.
That's right. And that's a fact.
And we know the rulers and the rich, they use the teachings of the 10 commandments.
Sure does. So
Arabians, Judeans, and Romans all use the 10 commandments, which is opposite teachings than Jesus' teachings. This is what Jesus taught. Jesus taught the way. So someone have came in his name and have deliberately and corrupted the teachings of Jesus, the Messiah. See, and that's how we find out when you trace all that back. See, Jesus, this is what will be going on Sunday. What the church will not bring, and why they get the idea of the Son of God. Because Jesus was the Son of Allah. And they took the concept and made it non-moral.
That's right.
So now you can worship men and the doctrines from men that you think are holy books, are only false scriptures and therefore imposters. There's always been one teaching, and that one teaching is the thread across the whole divinity. As we see 15, he who knows well his lower self knows the illusions of the world. This is the ignorance, y'all. The lower self is what the Sufyan calls your ignorance.
Yes, and we did that.
Ignorance creates evil.
That's right.
So if evil have spread it, that's because ignorance of self has spread it.
Mm-hmm.
No higher self being can bring harm to any being on the planet. Only lower self beings breed harm and harming everything on the planet. So as a Al Sufyan, you are saying you are a higher self life form. You have discerned, you master of what we call, what the prophet brought us called adept mastermind. So as a sheep, you were supposed to become an adept mastermind into self-mastery. But the issue was not to stop at sheep. You were supposed to rise to the highest level of spirit man, where you actually find the spirit man. And his name is Al Sufyan. And that's what we need to know and understand, is how you reach the divine creator, Allah. We're going to finish this out, and we're going to drive the flesh to the spirit. Knows the illusions of the world and knows the things that pass away. And he who knows his higher self knows Allah, knows well the things that cannot pass away. See, in the Moorish adept chamber of the holy prophets, thrice blessed is the one who has made purity and love their very own. This is how you rescue yourself from the lower self called ignorance. In other words, we call it the devil. Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, beast. The descendants of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve represents ignorance and the actions of ignorance. Remember, as we said, sin lies in the wish and the desire, not the act. So sin is in mind first, and then ignorance is the committing of that sin in rare form, action.
Right on.
So these people understood our African history at that point, being in Africa. And this is how we know and understand who we are today. Yep, this is all about ignorance right here. And we're going to close this off. Number 20. This evil is a word, shorter word for ignorance. This ignorance is a myth. These gods are made of air. clothed with shadows of a thought of ignorance. Look how the prophet was beautifully telling us.
Yeah.
21, the only devil from which men must be redeemed is ignorance. Your lower ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
If man will find his ignorance, he must look within. His name is self. Being self-ignorant, ignoring what all just been said. Man is not the body nor the soul. He is the spirit man, clothed with soul, made in the form of his divine creator. Man who knows himself knows the divine creator. We close this great meeting, but the Al-Fati is forever open. As-salam, 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 in the name of Al-Sufyan.